Party Llama is the party. Party Llama brings the party. Party Llama dramatically enhances the party. Please do not use Party Llama if you are allergic to the following: having a good time, increased heart rate, not being a total lame-wad, enjoying your life to the fullest, parasailing from the back of a yacht. Please consult a doctor if you do not develop a cool attitude. Use as directed.
Hey guys, welcome to Burn tonight. It's our first attempt to try to do this live streaming, so we're gonna have some fun and hopefully it all goes according to plan. So a couple of things as we get going here to start out with. You can comment down in the comment section anytime you want to let us know anything. Go ahead and throw that out there for us, and we'll be able to respond to that as we go throughout the evening. Also, want to let you know we are going to attempt to play a game. So in order for this to work, we're going to do Kahoot. You're probably going to need like a laptop, or if you're streaming this through your TV, something like that, awesome. But then with your phone, you're going to need to pull up your Kahoot game. Unless you're like really awesome and really good and you can flip back and forth between your phone from YouTube, seeing what the question is, and going over to Kahoot and picking the correct answer. But that'll be hard. So my suggestion is to set up so that either you're watching this through a laptop or through a tablet or through your TV, and then getting your device in order for you to play the Kahoot game. So go ahead and start working on that, getting that all set up if you need to do any adjustment or rearranging there. And as you're doing that, some quick announcements for you. Would love for you guys to jump on to Zoom tomorrow morning at 10 just to hang out. It's just a chance for us to talk, see how everybody's doing, to see each other's faces, and just to hang out for a little while. So would love for you to jump on, even if you can't stay very long, just to jump in real quick, say hi, let us know you're doing okay, see some of your friends, talk for a little bit, and go about your day. So that's tomorrow morning at 10 during using the Zoom app to do that. And then, of course, Friday, you'll have another round table talk discussion drop at noon on Friday. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the Bible reading plan that gets posted every Monday morning and our weekly challenge each week. I hope you've been doing that. If you haven't, there's still an opportunity for you to do it. The week isn't over. So go check out our weekly challenge from Monday, and you can still be a part of our weekly challenge for this week. All right? Are you ready? Let's try to play Kahoot. Okay? Okay, here we go. Everybody, go ahead. We're going to do the classic game. All right, go ahead and log in. 5524426 is the login number. So go ahead and log in. And we're going to try to do Kahoot live over the interwebs and see how that goes. Oh, Brian Logley's in the house. Wesley is in. All right, that's great. Joshua DeWald is in. Hey, if there are any parents at home watching, you can log in too, because here's the deal. The winner of tonight's game, Kahoot game, you're going to win lunch tomorrow. I'm going to go buy you your favorite lunch from Chick-fil-A and deliver it to your house. I'm a professional DoorDash driver. Not really, but I will deliver your lunch to you live and in person for our winner of tonight's Kahoot game. So Grace is in, Wesley's in, Emma's in, Brian is in, and Joshua is in. I know it shows me that there are more people watching, so I want to give some people more opportunity. If you're having struggling or to get on, you can text or throw down a comment down on the YouTube page, and we'll get that really quick. Or you can text me and let me know that you are trying to log in. Kahoot It is how you can log in through your phone if you haven't gotten the app. Hope you're all doing well, doing good. Oh, Bethany's in. Yes. See if Bethany can beat her brother. That'd be awesome. Oh, Anna's in. Sweet. My own son hasn't logged in yet, but that's all right. All right, we're going to give it just a few more moments. Anybody else wants to jump in? Can. All righty. All right, and here we go. So for you guys that are logged in, here is your chance to win yourself a free lunch tomorrow from Chick-fil-A. Here we go. Tonight's game is crisscross. Questions all about the different Chris's. Which Chris played the role of Captain America? Was it Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, or Chris Evans? Which Chris played Captain America? And just so you know, those answers will stay in the same spot. I'm not switching them around during the game. Awesome. All right, 3 of you got that correct. Brian is in the lead. Joshua is second. Anna third. Emma and Wesley did not get that question right, but that's okay. You got a chance here on this next one. Question number 2. Which Chris was not born in the United States? Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, or Chris Evans? Which one of those Chris's was not born in the United States? Ooh, nice job. Most of you got that correct. Oh, had a little movement there, a little movement. Good. All right, here we go. Our next question. Question number 3. Which Chris is the voice of Emmett from the Lego Movie? Is it Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans? Which Chris is it? Emmett from the Lego Movie. It's a great movie. Love that movie. Which one of those Chris's was it? Nice job, Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt. Ooh, Brian's still in the lead. All right, here we go. Grace, good job. Jumped up. Wesley, way to get on the board. Question number 4. Which Chris has not been in a Marvel movie? Not been in a Marvel movie. They've all been in superhero movies, but which one was not in a Marvel movie? He was in a DC movie. Oh, nice. Everybody got that one. Yes, Chris Pine was in Wonder Woman, which is DC. Nice job. All right, here we go. Question number 5. Which Chris is the youngest? Which Chris is the youngest? Thought that was a little bit nicer question than which one was the oldest. Which one of those guys is the youngest? Oh, no one got that correct. How about that? Chris Hemsworth is actually the youngest one. But no movement on the board after that one. Question 6. Which Chris is married to the actress Anna Faris? Married to the actress Anna Faris. Which Chris is that? And I am being informed that they are no longer married. They were married, but they're not married currently any longer. But it was Chris Pratt. Very good. All right. Oh, we got some movement there. Here we go. Next question. Number 7. Which Chris has not hosted Saturday Night Live? 3 of the 4 have been hosted before. Which one has not hosted Saturday Night Live? It was Chris Evans. Oh, Joshua Moving on up, closing the gap. Here we go. Question 8. Which Chris made his movie debut in Star Trek 2009? Which Chris made his movie debut in Star Trek, which was back in 2009, 11 years ago? I just watched this about 2 weeks ago, and I saw him in it, and so it's true. It's Chris Hemsworth. He's one of the guys that's on the ship as a helmsman. He has a very brief part. He's only in it for like 2 minutes, but that was his first movie. Chris Pine was in movies before that one. So, no movement on our board. Last 2 questions. Here comes question 9. Which Chris does not use social media? Which of these Chris's does not use social media? Is it Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, or Chris Evans? It is Chris Pine. One of you got that correctly. And it was Brian increasing his lead. Wow. Brian, do you really know that, or did you just guess? That's really good. All right, last question. Question 10. Which Chris has been vocal about his Christian faith? Which of these Chris's has been vocal about his faith? Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, or Chris Evans? Yeah, Chris Pratt. Very good. So here we go. Our winners of tonight's Kahoot game. In third place, Anna. Good job. In second place, Joshua DeWald. And in first place is Brian. Awesome. Congratulations, Brian. Hey, this is what you need to do. Down in the comment section, you need to tell me what is your favorite meal from Chick-fil-A, whether it's like meal number 1 or nuggets or whatever, and your drink, all that great stuff. Make sure you let me know what it is that you want. Okay? So let me know. Put that down there, and I will deliver that to your house tomorrow for lunch. Pretty cool. All right. I'm glad that worked out for us there, and we got to play. To be honest with you guys, really nervous. Wasn't sure if that was going to work or not, but it did. So very, very cool. All right. So as we get started tonight with what we're going to be doing, normally we have a time of worship, and that includes singing. But if you saw this past week's table talk, it was about worship. Brock and Matt Tischler, along with Ethan, we're talking about what worship is. And in that, Matt gave a definition, and I think it was spot on. It's a great definition of what worship is. He said it's a right response to God. And so when we think about worship in those terms, being a right response to God, it makes it so much bigger and so much broader than what we sometimes think of worship as being limited down to just being music and music only. So with that understanding of what worship is, a right response to God means we can worship in so many more ways than simply just by singing. It could be a situation where something great happens in your life and you want to tell God thanks. That would be a right response. That would be worship. It could be a situation, maybe you're reading something in the Bible and maybe there's a sin that is pointed out to you. And so a right response would be to confess and to correct that. Maybe it's you're reading in the Bible and there's like something in there, a command for you to follow. And so a right response would be to follow that command. That would be worship. And so when we talk a lot about worship is a lifestyle, that's kind of what we're talking about. This idea that worship is a right response to God, however he reveals himself to us, that we respond in the right way. And so tonight, what we're going to do for a time of worship is we're going to set aside some time for prayer. And so the way this is going to work, popping up on your screen, I'm going to give you 5 different prayer prompts, and each one is going to stay on the screen for just a minute. Not very long, just for a minute. And I want to encourage you guys to pray through these things. So each minute, another prayer prompt will jump up on your screen and to pray through that. All right. So I'm going to start us out and then we'll get going with our prayer of worship tonight. God, we thank you for the opportunity that we have to come together and to be united, even though it's through technology and over screens, and we may physically be in different locations, but Lord, we're united in spirit. I'm reminded of the times that Paul talks about in the New Testament that he is absent from people in the body, but he is with them in spirit. And Lord, that is what we are tonight. And so, God, we thank you that we even have this opportunity to do that, to be united in such a way. So we just offer up this time to you as an opportunity for us to worship you, that we give you proper recognition that you deserve. And so now at this time, we want to pray. So you guys follow along on your screens the different prayer prompts as they come. Hey, tonight we're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk a little bit about what it means to have faith and hopefully have a better biblical understanding by the end of it. Because if you think about it, when we say the word faith, we actually use it in lots of different contexts, use it in different situations, and it can mean kind of different things depending on what we're talking about. So tonight, I just want to jump into that and begin with this idea of what is faith. And if you had to give a definition, what would it be? What would be a solid way to explain faith? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the different ways we kind of use the word faith. All right? So, for example, we'll say something along the lines of this: I have faith that the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl, right? We use it like that. But is that the same type of faith that we mean when we talk about a biblical faith, an authentic, real faith? And so, really, when we use faith this way, what we're saying is, I have confidence. Actually, it's not even confidence. What we're saying is, I'm hopeful and I have like wishful thinking that the Cowboys will win. It's kind of this idea that, man, I just really, really believe and I really, really hope, and it's kind of like crossing your fingers that that's the kind of faith that we talk about when we say things like this, that we have faith in the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl or whoever it may be. But when we use that terminology, when really what we're saying is I have hope, or it's just wishful thinking, I hope that it happens. If we apply that biblically to like a spiritual setting, if that's our understanding of faith, that can be problematic for us, because if we say something like, I have faith that I'm saved, are we really just saying, I hope that I'm saved? It's wishful thinking. I have my fingers crossed I'm not sure, but I sure hope that I'm saved. That is not biblical faith. That's not the faith that's described of in the Bible. So that's not really a good definition of faith or a way to think about faith. Sometimes we use the word faith like this: I have faith that my team will make it to state, or I have faith that my band is going to make it to state, or even I have faith that I'm going to make all district, or I have faith that I'm going to make it, to state ensemble or first chair or whatever. And in that terminology, that's the one that's more kind of like an idea of confidence. That's really what we're saying, is that I have confidence my team is going to do well, or I'm going to do well. And the reason why we say that is because there are some aspects that are out of our control, but we know that we have some control in the matter. Meaning, I know the amount of effort that I've put in and the amount of practice that I've put into this and the amount of time and attention. And so what we're saying is I have confidence in what I've done, that it's going to be good enough and it's going to work. Now, of course, there are things that are out of my control. I can't control the other team and how much they've prepared and what they've done, but I know what I've done and I know I'm prepared and I have control over that. So if that's our understanding of faith when we think of it in biblical terms, again, I think that's a wrong way to think about it, because when it comes to biblical faith, true authentic faith, it's not this idea of saying, I have faith that I'm saved. Because really what you're saying is, well, because I know how much effort I've put into it, and I know how much I've worked, and I have confidence that I'm a good person and that what I've done is good enough that God is going to show favor to me. And so therefore, my faith is based in confidence in what I have done. And if we think about that, that's not true, real biblical faith either. That's not real, authentic faith. This idea that we put confidence in ourselves, that we can be good enough or do enough things, or at least do our part, and then God comes along and does his part and takes care of the rest. That's not really a true biblical understanding of faith either. So that's not a good way to think of it. And sometimes we hear things like this. We say things like, well, if you have enough faith, God will answer your prayers. I don't know if you've ever heard that or felt that, or maybe heard someone else say that, but sometimes we'll say that, those kind of terminology. If you have enough faith, God will answer your prayer. And again, what we're saying there is we're really making faith into kind of like a power or a force. Kind of this idea that if I can do faith correctly and I have this special kind of power or force, then I can make God do what I want him to do. That if I do this faith thing right, then man, I can get God to give me what I want and to answer my prayers and to do the things that I want to. And we make faith this like mystical force, or maybe kind of like this secret formula. In that if I can figure out the formula, then God has to give me what I want. That he has to answer my prayers if I do this faith thing right. Meaning, like, if I have to read my Bible for 10 minutes and then pray for 5 minutes, that's enough, and that God will answer my prayer. Or if it's I go to church on Sunday and tune in on Wednesday night to burn, then that's enough. And then God will have to answer my prayer, because then I've demonstrated that I have faith. I've done it correctly. I've figured out the secret formula that God has to do what I want him to do. And so again, that's not a good, solid biblical understanding of faith. That's not true, real, authentic faith. It's not a power. It's not a way that we can kind of manipulate God. Because really, if you think about it, then if we don't get what we're praying for and it doesn't happen the way we want, the natural conclusion is, well, then there must be something wrong with me. Like my faith isn't good enough. I don't have a good enough quality of faith for God to answer my prayers. Or we can even turn around and say, well, there must be something wrong with God. God must be angry at me, or he must not really love me, or this whole prayer thing doesn't work because I did what I was supposed to, right? And the way it comes out a lot of times is that we think about faith in this way. It's a way for us to make God kind of do what we want him to do. We'll say things like this: God, if you help me pass this test, then I promise I'll read my Bible tomorrow. God, if you just, hey, make that cute girl over there go out with me, then I promise I'll take her to church and we'll go to church and it'll be great. Or God, if you get me out of this mess, I promise I'll never do this again. And that's that kind of idea of faith, is this way that if we can do the right things, read our Bible, go to church, don't do bad stuff, whatever it is, then we have this power or ability to manipulate God to make him do what we want him to do. And so that's not a good understanding of faith either, from my understanding of what true, authentic biblical faith is. So that's kind of what faith is not. And we can say the word faith in those different circumstances and different situations, but I want us to be grounded in what is a better biblical understanding of what real, true, authentic faith is. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. So I want to look at Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. It says this: "Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see." Being sure of what we're hoping for and certain of the things we don't see. So if I were to give you a definition of true biblical authentic faith, and that's what I'm going to call it, authentic faith, this is how I would define faith for you. Authentic faith is confidence that God is who he says he is, and he will do everything that he's promised to do. That's a good, solid biblical understanding of what true authentic faith is. Confidence that God is who he says he is, and that he will do everything that he's promised to do. Now, I know y'all are really smart, and you're looking at that and you're saying, well, wait a minute. Didn't just a little bit ago you said a wrong definition of faith is confidence? And you're right. And so let's kind of work that out, because I do have confidence in my definition. But earlier, when we were talking about like my team will go to state or I'll make first chair or whatever, your confidence is in your ability to affect the change, or your ability to do something about it, that it's your effort. So your confidence is in yourself. And here in my definition, your confidence has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with God. My confidence that God is who he says he is, and he's going to do everything he's promised to do. It has nothing to do with me and my effort, or me believing harder or trying harder or being more earnest and desiring it more. It has nothing to do with that. It's just this confidence that God is who he says he is, and he will do everything he's promised to do. So to kind of help you illustrate this maybe a little bit better, think about it this way. Let's say at the end of this quarantine and it's all over and done, you decide, I'm going to throw a party, man. We're going to celebrate. I'm going to see all my friends because I haven't got to see them in such a long time. And so you throw a party and like you start planning it right now. Maybe you don't know the date yet, but man, you start working on it and you're sending out invitations to all your friends, and you're going to have this massive, huge quarantine freedom party. All right. And all your friends are like, yeah, I'm going to come. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. And then you have this great idea. What if I invite like my favorite music artist to come? So maybe your favorite music artist is Post Malone or Taylor Swift or whoever, your person is, and you send them an email to their manager or whatever, or you send out a tweet to their account and just say, hey, I'm throwing a party. Would love for you to come. Now, at that moment right then, would you tell all of your friends, hey, you have to come to my party because Post Malone's going to be there, or hey, Lecrae's going to be there. I sent him an email. He's coming. Like, would you say it at that point? Or are you just simply hoping that they would come? At that moment, it's simply just hope. It's that wishful thinking. You don't really have faith that they're coming. But what would take it from just simple hope and wishful thinking to faith? What would take it to that point? It would have to be some kind of response from them back to you, right? There would have to be some kind of communication on their part where they said, hey, yes, I'll come. Yes, I'll be there, right? The promise of them coming is what gives you the faith to tell people, yes, they're going to be there. It's the promise, right? And so in my definition that I gave you, confidence that God is who he says he is, and he will do everything he's promised to do. Our confidence is in the promises of God. What takes us from hope to faith is the promises of God, God's revelation to us in his word. So we put our confidence in God, in who he is, that he is all powerful, that he is all knowing, and that he is all loving. And so even in the midst of this craziness that's in our world, our confidence is in the character of God. He's all knowing, all loving, all powerful. And I know he wants the very best for me. And so I'm going to have my confidence, my faith is in him and in his promises. And when I read his word, I read his promises that he's never going to leave us, forsake us. We read in his promises that nothing can take us out of God's love. That's where my confidence is. That's where my faith is. And again, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with him. So here's the big principle idea. If we can wrap our mind around that kind of definition of faith, then we walk away with this principle to live our life, that God can be trusted. God can be trusted. In every area of our life, we can trust him. When we don't understand things, we can trust him. When things don't make sense to us, we can trust him. When our prayers aren't answered the way we want them to, he can be trusted. God can be trusted because our faith is grounded in the character of God and the promises of God. So we can walk in confidence that God can be trusted. It says it this way in the Bible in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Trusting in God with everything that you are, not trusting yourself, leaning on your own understanding or how you think things should work and how they should go, but trusting God in every area of your life. In all your ways, you're submitting to him, saying, God, I'm going to trust you and follow you. So that means with this whole Corona thing, we're trusting God in that. When it comes to this idea of maybe in the future, as you kind of think about dating and in potentially marriage, God, I'm going to trust you and your word of how you say we should do dating and marriage. God, I'm going to trust you when it comes to where I decide to go to college. God, I'm going to trust you when it comes to this idea of what I want to do for a career. God, I'm going to trust you in every area of my life. When it comes to the words that I say to people, I'm going to trust you in Ephesians 4:29 that my words will be uplifting and encouraging. I'm going to trust you in every area of my life to follow your ways and lean not on my own understanding and what I think's right, what I think is smart, what I think is best. But I'm going to submit to you. And there's the promise that he will make your path straight, that he will guide you through life, that he will do the work in your life to make your path straight and to help you when you fully trust and submit to him. So again, God can be trusted. But here's the one thing that I want you to understand when it comes to this submitting to him means that we trust God as our Lord and Savior, as our boss. And if God truly is that, then we allow him to do whatever he wants to do with us and in our lives, even if that means he's going to say no to some prayers that we want. That's what it means for him to be Lord in our life. And as long as we view faith as a way that we try to get something from God, the way we kind of manipulate him, then we're always going to struggle with surrendering to God. And as Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 said, we have to submit to him, trust him in all our ways, and lean not on our own understanding. But man, if we think of faith as this secret formula, and if I can just figure it out right, then God has to, he owes me because I did my part, so he has to do his, then we're always going to struggle with this idea of surrendering to him completely and fully of what real faith is all about. So again, authentic faith, confidence that God is who he says he is, and that he will do everything that he's promised to do. I think that's a good, solid understanding of what faith is. And I want to start there because next week we're going to talk about faith again, but I want to tackle this idea of why does sometimes we get caught in this trap of feeling like God has abandoned us, and for some people even to the point where they walk away from their Christian faith and they go, this isn't for me anymore. I don't believe in it. Especially right now in circumstances and situations like this, we could feel ourselves maybe feeling like, where is God in all this? This doesn't seem like God loves me in the midst of all that's going on. And so I want to tackle that next week. This idea of, why do we get to that point of maybe walking away from our faith? But we need to start here to make sure we understand and have a solid biblical understanding of what real faith is for us to jump into that topic next week. So I'm going to leave you with this tonight. A great question that we all should ask ourselves. Are you trusting God with the critical areas of your life? Are you really trusting God in every area, critical area of your life? Are you trusting Him? And that's a great way to begin to ask yourself, do I have real, true, authentic faith? Do I trust Him in every area of my life? I love you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight for Burn. I want to encourage you again, if you have the opportunity, hang out with us tomorrow at our ATM Hangout at Zoom at 10 o'clock. And join us for worship at Alsbury at 10:30 Sunday morning with your entire family. And then next week, we'll be back again live for Burn. So love you guys. If you ever need anything, whatever, reach out to me. I'm here for you guys for whatever you guys need. Love you, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.